Why do you recommend shifting from a how question to a why question, and a why question to a what question? How does this embodiment differ from what the embodiment of the concrete questions are, the who, the where, and the when?
So anywhere that we see a how question, we want to see if we can turn it into a why question. So, how do we make X and Y equal? Would be, well, why was that important? So in other words, we're moving from a implementation to a what is the ground of meaning? Right? When we're asking a why question, we're either asking for an explanation for something. Why is it true? Or why does that happen? So we're digging for principles. Or we're looking for what is the meaningfulness behind it. So either way, going from a how question to a why question is going to increase the quality of the questions because it's increasing the depth at which those questions are being asked. So for example, if we're already at a why question and we move it into a what question, so instead of asking, why is the sky blue, or in this case, why is the sky green? We would have a reason for wanting to know. And so, what is the dynamic that's creating the greenness or the blueness or the thing? We're actually learning something because we're starting to go more into the deeper essence of things. If we get to a place where we're asking what questions, what's really important here? What kinds of things would be the most helpful? Right? Now we're starting to ask questions which are getting at the kind of boundaries of what are the essential values? What are the essential principles that would inform decision making in these spaces, right? So EGP is now starting to ask questions which are more profound in a systemic way. If we get to a place where we're already asking how questions, and we move it to why questions, and we move it to what questions, and we're now at a place of what questions, the next transformation would be to move it from something which is visible in structures and space to what would it feel like. So rather than what does it look like, right? What would it look like for us to be successful as a community? To what would it feel like for us to be successful as a community? Right? And we move it from looks like to feels like, we can get closer to what is. What is a successful community, right? So the thing is that the feeling part of it kind of compensates for what would otherwise be a very intellectual exercise. It's really important for us to move the question from a process which is merely abstract and intellectual into something which is embodied. Because if we're not executing from an embodied space, if we're not as a community living in the knowing of what it is that matters, then to a large extent we're going to be less effective as a group. And by large extent, think 10,000 to 1 multiplying ratios. Like, not just a little bit of difference, but a huge difference. Because it shows up fractally. It's systematic in tremendous ways. So in this sense, we're really getting at a kind of sequence of transformations that gradually deepen the conversation. And so in effect, the action of being an inquiry coach is to basically be able to notice what transformations are available and then to do the next one. So there's a lot of information there. But it gives you kind of the flavor of how to do inquiry coaching. I mean, it's not the whole thing. It's just one piece. But it's a pretty important piece. It's one of the pieces that makes EGP as a methodology somewhat unique.